Captain Jake Sullivan stood on the bridge of the U.S. Pioneer watching Earth one last time through the viewing screen. His hands gripped the command console as reports came in from the 23 colony worlds. The numbers were terrible. 3 billion humans dead in 6 months. 80% of humanity's population outside Earth was gone. "Captain, the last transport has cleared the atmosphere," said Lieutenant Chris Morgan, his voice shaking. On the horizon, the blue marble of Earth looked peaceful, unchanged. But below them, the cities were empty. Streets where children once played lay silent. "Set course for Kepler 186f, Jake ordered. The coordinates for humanity's secret rendezvous point were classified. Not even their alien allies knew where the survivors would go. Ambassador Thexka of the Kelton Confederacy appeared on the communication screen. Their 6 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of distress. "Captain Sullivan, please reconsider. The galaxy needs humanity. Your scientists, your engineers, your peacekeepers." "I'm sorry, Ambassador," Jake interrupted, "but we need to save ourselves first." The bridge crew worked quietly, checking systems, preparing for the jump. Navigation Officer Emma Phillips plotted their course through 7 different star systems to confuse any followers. She used human-designed navigation tech that was generations ahead of any other species. "Admiral Rodriguez is aboard the constellation *, reported Communications Officer Paul Baker. "She confirms all 2,000 ships are ready for departure." 2,000 ships, the greatest evacuation in human history. Every one contained refugees, scientists, doctors, engineers, and soldiers. They carried humanity's knowledge, culture, and hope for the future. "The Raki Dominion has sent their wishes," said Lieutenant Morgan. "The Cephalon Alliance too. They all want to help." "Tell them thank you," Jake replied. "But tell them we must go alone." The plague had started on Mars Colony. Dr. Stevens had been the first to identify it, but by then it was too late. The virus spread faster than light through quantum-entangled communication nets. Every colony that shared data with Earth got infected simultaneously. First Officer Nancy Wilson approached Jake with a datapad. "Captain, we're seeing massive system failures across our infrastructure. Without maintenance, the hyperspace beacons will fail in months. The trade routes, not our problem anymore," Jake said quietly, though guilt twisted in his stomach. Humans had built those beacons. They had designed the galactic shipping lanes. They had trained alien crews to use every system. "Jump point reached," announced Emma. "Coordinates locked. All ships, this is Captain Sullivan. Today we leave behind everything we've built, but we're not running away. We're buying time. Time to find a cure. Time to grow strong again. When we return, we'll come as friends, not refugees." He pressed the communication button. "Ambassador Thexka, thank you for your friendship. Watch over the stars for us." The ambassador raised their 3-fingered hand in salute. "We will never forget what humanity gave this galaxy. Come back to us." Jake nodded to Emma. "Execute jump sequence." In 37 locations across the galaxy, human ships vanished. Research stations went dark. Colonies stood empty. The great human experiment with the stars had paused. On 1,000 worlds, alien species watched in silence as navigation systems began to glitch. Communication networks struggled without human maintenance. The very fabric of galactic society started showing strains that no one had noticed before. In the void between stars, hidden from prying eyes, the human fleet gathered. They carried hopes, dreams, and determination. But they left behind a galaxy that would soon learn what it truly meant to lose humanity's touch. 6 months passed like a slow death. Captain Zyler of the Trentani Empire watched numbers flash across her screen. Trade deficit, 400 trillion credits. System failures, 2,347. Missing cargo ships, 891. "How many ships lost this week?" she asked her second in command. 12, Captain. Same problem. Navigation system crashes in deep space. Xylor rubbed her forehead with one of her 4 hands. Before humans left, cargo ships followed perfect routes through hyperspace. Human navigation systems had guided vessels through the most dangerous star systems with 0 accidents. Now ships disappeared weekly. On Space Station Nova Prime, Krisha the scientist worked late at night. The Kelton researcher had discovered something alarming. Human-built hyperspace beacons were failing one by one. These beacons created safe paths through space, like lighthouses in the stars. Look at this pattern, Krisha showed her assistant. Every beacon is losing power at the same rate. Without maintenance, they'll all go dark within a year. Can't we fix them? We're trying, but human technology works differently. Their systems think in ways we never studied. In the Galactic Commerce Hub, chaos grew daily. Before humans left, they had created the UTS, Universal Translation Standard. Every species used it for instant communication across thousands of languages. Now, without human servers, the system crashed frequently. Merchant leader Gregmar tried to place orders with suppliers. "I need 500 units off." The screen froze. Words appeared in gibberish. "Not again," he muttered. Simple business deals now took days instead of minutes. The Iraqi military tried to patrol old human trade routes. General Kaur ordered his finest ships to guard the most valuable paths. But space was not kind without human mapping. "Sir, we've lost contact with Patrol Group Delta," reported his officer. "How many this time?" 6 ships. They tried to follow the old Earth trade corridor. Navigation failed halfway through. General Kaur closed his eyes. Humans had mapped safe paths through nebulas, around black holes, and past solar storms. No one else could replicate their precision. Banking systems across 3 sectors collapsed without human oversight. The Trentani Banking Union had depended on human-designed algorithms for currency exchange. Now, markets swung wildly. "The human credit is still worth more than anything," banker Vexen noted sadly. "Even though they're gone, their economic systems were better than anything we could create." Medical stations struggled without human drugs. Dr. Preksun tried to recreate human medications using old records. But without understanding human chemistry, nothing worked correctly. Patients with rare diseases faced certain death. "These formulas, they're brilliant but incomprehensible," he told his team. "Human bodies process drugs differently. Their medical breakthroughs can't be copied." 200 years of human advancement had lifted the entire galaxy. Now, like pulling threads from fabric, everything began unraveling. Planet Nexus 9 faced food shortages. Humans had introduced efficient farming techniques that increased crop yields by 300%. Local farmers tried to maintain the systems, but harvests dropped each season. "We need human agricultural experts," farm leader Zorn pleaded at council meetings. "Our people will starve without their knowledge." Everywhere, the silence grew louder. No human consultants solved engineering problems. No human mediators settled disputes. No human teachers shared innovative ideas. The galaxy had grown used to human excellence, and now felt its absence like a missing limb. In distant space, forgotten human monitoring stations recorded these failures. Automated systems collected data: beacon failures, navigation crashes, economic drops, medical crises. The information stored itself in quantum drives, waiting for someone who might someday ask, "What happened when humans left?" President Vorn hammered his gavel, but the Galactic Council chamber remained noisy. A year had passed since humanity's departure. Where once there was order, now chaos ruled. "Silence. I demand silence." Vorn's voice boomed through the hall. Slowly, the shouting stopped. "We must address the crisis," he began. But before he could continue, Representative Krexar of the Raki Dominion slammed his clawed fist on his desk. "The crisis is opportunity," Krexar growled. "Human space stations stand empty. Their mining colonies produce no ore. Why shouldn't my people claim them?" Ambassador Kelthorn of the Arcany stood immediately. The Cephalon Alliance has equal claim. Our scientists helped humans develop those stations. You helped do nothing but take. Krexar spat. Your species always favored humanity. Now you want their rewards. Arguments erupted across the chamber. What humans had built together, alien species now fought to divide. Colonies humanity had helped settle became disputed territories. Trade agreements meant nothing without human mediators. In the Tresori system, war had already begun. Raki warships fired on Cephalon positions. General Vexmore commanded the Raki fleet with brutal efficiency. Destroy their mining platforms, he ordered. If we cannot have human technology, no one shall. Cephalon Captain Threndel watched his ships burn from a distance. They would never understand, he whispered to his crew. Humans taught us to share resources, not steal them. On planet Nexus 9, former human peacekeeping stations stood dark and abandoned. Local conflicts that humans had mediated for decades now erupted into violence. The Korani and Zelthic species, once peaceful neighbors, now battled over water rights the human engineers had carefully balanced. Pete Johnson always knew what to do, Mayor Vexica remembered sadly. The human peacekeeper had solved their water crisis in 1 week. Now, months of fighting had destroyed what humans built in years. Communication networks split into fragments. Species that had shared the human-designed quantum network now built their own systems. But these fragmented networks couldn't talk to each other. Scientist Krisha watched helplessly as research projects stopped. Collaboration is dead, she reported to her council. Arcany physicists won't share data with Kelton mathematicians. Everyone wants human knowledge but refuses to work together. The greatest tragedy struck on Station Orion Prime. Built by human engineers, it had served as a neutral meeting place for 50 different species. Now, each species claimed a section, creating borders where none existed before. Station Master Drexen tried to maintain order. This facility belongs to everyone, he announced daily. But his words fell on deaf ears. Barriers rose between sections. Guards checked identification cards. The place humans had made for unity became a symbol of division. In the outer systems, piracy exploded. Human patrol ships had kept space lanes safe for generations. Without their presence, criminal elements emerged from hiding. Cargo ships needed armed escorts for every journey. Captain Zorn of Merchant Guild met secretly with former human contacts. They left instructions, he revealed, hidden protocols for defense, but were too proud to follow another species' plans. The Jexari Consortium tried to maintain human traditions. They preserved human gardens, protected human art, and continued human holiday celebrations. But other species mocked them as human sympathizers. Weakness, sneered Raki warriors. You seek strength from those who abandoned us. President Vorn returned to his empty office. Maps on his walls showed the growing chaos. Red zones marked conflicts. Black areas showed systems with no government. The organized galaxy humans had helped build was breaking apart. He opened a drawer and pulled out a small recording device, a message from his old friend, Admiral Torres. If things get bad, remember, we built this galaxy together. Don't let our work die. Outside his window, ships gathered in battle formations. Old alliances crumbled while ancient grudges rekindled. The galaxy stood at the brink of something terrible, all because those who unified it had been forced to leave. Captain Vexmar checked the star charts for the 100th time. His mixed species crew had searched for 18 months, following whispers and rumors about where humans had gone. Another dead end, reported Navigator's Exxon. No sign of human ships in Sector 447. But then, Junior Officer Krensaw called out from her station. Captain, I found something. Energy signature matches human warp trails. The search ship Asterisk Seeker's Hope Asterisk adjusted course. They followed the faint energy traces through asteroid fields and past ancient stars. 3 days later, they discovered an abandoned human scout ship. Asterisk Liberty's Edge Asterisk. Boarding team ready, announced Security Chief Fornax. When they entered the derelict vessel, dust covered everything. But in the ship's logs, they found gold. Lieutenant Dan Cooper, Vexmar read aloud. Ship's log, day 234. We've mapped safe routes through the Veil Nebula. No other species dares go there. Perfect hiding spot if needed. The crew spent hours reading every log entry. Slowly, they pieced together humanity's trail. The logs mentioned research stations, hidden supply depots, and encrypted coordinates. They left breadcrumbs on purpose, realized Krensa. They wanted someone to follow, but made it hard enough to keep enemies away. Following Cooper's notes, they found 3 abandoned research stations. On Station Gamma 7, something incredible waited in the main computer banks. Dr. Krisha, the expedition's chief scientist, discovered video recordings. Dr. Lisa Bryant appeared on screen. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. If you're watching this, humanity is gone from known space. Lisa began. The plague wasn't natural. During first contact with the Voidborn, our scientists accidentally released a bioweapon. They used genetic warfare. We think they studied us for months before striking. The recording explained everything. Humans had quarantined themselves to prevent spreading the plague. They hadn't fled. They had isolated to protect other species. We found traces of the Voidborn ships, Lisa continued. They live between dimensions. Our technology can't reach them, but we're trying. More recordings showed human scientists working frantically. They hadn't just searched for a cure. They had developed countermeasures against Voidborn technology. The dimensional barriers we built can block their weapons, another recording explained. But completing them requires knowledge only humans have. We must survive. Captain Vexmar gathered his crew. We have a decision. Do we share this information with the Council? If the Voidborn return, all species are in danger, argued Krensa. But if we reveal this, there will be panic, countered Krisha. Wars might start over access to human defenses. They compromised. Vexmar sent encoded messages to trusted contacts. Peace-loving species needed this information, but warmongers couldn't have it. On Station Gamma 7, they also found something else. A partially complete quantum beacon designed by humans to reach further than any known technology. They were building bridges, Krisha realized. Even while running, they planned to help others. The search team spent weeks studying human notes. They learned about dimensional physics, quantum shields, and threat detection systems. Knowledge that could save the galaxy if used wisely. In the final log entry, Cooper left a message. We go beyond the edge of known space. If you need us, build our beacon exactly as planned. But don't follow us yet. The plague must die first. As Asterisk Seekers Hope Asterisk departed Station Gamma 7, they carried new understanding. Humans hadn't abandoned the galaxy. They had sacrificed themselves to save it. The plague threatened everyone, and the Voidborn might return. We must prepare, Vexmar declared. Whether humans return or not, their knowledge must protect us all. Unknown to them, deep in human space, automated systems detected their discoveries. Somewhere far away, alarms sounded in human command centers. The galaxy was learning truths it wasn't ready for. The timer on humanity's return had just accelerated. 2 years after humanity's departure, something changed in the galaxy. Species stopped fighting and started paying attention. In the Great Library of Zonkar, historian Prexun spent nights studying human archives. Other scholars joined him, fascinated by what they found. Look at this. Prexun showed a group of young students. Humans had only 200 years in space, yet they solved problems that stumped us for millennia. How? Asked a Kelton student. They thought differently, Prexun explained. When facing a problem with no solution, humans created new ways to think about it. The group read human case studies with amazement. The Terran water crisis of 2247. Every engineer said Mars needed artificial rain. Humans built underground ice farms instead. The lunar mining disaster of 2301. Experts predicted colony collapse. Humans redesigned mining drones to work as medical rescue units. Innovation through necessity, Prexon wrote in his notes. When humans couldn't find answers, they invented new questions. On the frontier world of Titan's Rest, someone was taking a different approach. Bob Mitchell ran a small trading post, but his real work happened in hidden workshops below ground. "Hand me the quantum spanner," he called to his assistant, a Trentani engineer named Kexra. They had been trying to reverse engineer human neural interfaces for months. These devices let humans control ships with thought alone. Every alien species that tried before had failed. The interface responds to human brain patterns. Kexra noted, "Our neural structures are too different. Then we need to think like humans." Bob grinned. His years trading with human merchants had taught him their mental tricks. Don't solve the problem directly. Find a parallel solution. Instead of copying human interfaces, they designed adapters. The breakthrough came when they stopped thinking about control and started thinking about communication. "It works," Kexra shouted one night. "The neural link accepts our thoughts now." But success brought understanding. We can use their technology, Bob realized, but we'll never match their creativity. Human minds work in loops and leaps. Ours work in lines. In multiple sectors, species began studying human psychology. How do they innovate so rapidly? Why did they combine unrelated ideas so easily? Dr. Kellethorne established the Center for Human Studies. They called it lateral thinking. She lectured to packed halls. Making connections between unconnected things, they combined music theory with quantum physics, used children's games to solve military strategy. But studying human methods proved harder than any species expected. Trying to think like humans felt unnatural. Some researchers went mad attempting human-style creativity. "We're like children trying to run before we can walk," admitted scientist Vexon. "Humans develop their thinking over millions of years. We can't copy it in months." Still, progress came slowly. Kelton shipbuilders began testing asymmetrical designs, a strange human concept. Trentani chefs experimented with ingredients that shouldn't mix. Arcane musicians played deliberate mistakes that created new harmonies. On 10,000 Worlds, beings who had stopped learning started studying again. Libraries once closed for centuries reopened. Young species who had never met humans began reading human texts. A movement grew, led by those who had worked closely with humans. They called themselves innovators. Their symbol was simple, a question mark inside a light bulb. "Humans didn't just give us technology," taught former peace officer Zornak. "They gave us an example of thinking bigger, of never accepting limits." In secret, select species began preparing. The knowledge from Station Gamma 7 couldn't be shared widely, but its impact spread. Defensive systems improved. Old research projects restarted with new approaches. The galaxy was waking up, not as a unified force yet, but as individuals learning to think in new ways. Human absence had created a gap. Now, alien minds struggled to fill it, not by copying, but by growing. Far away, in human space, observers noted these changes with surprise. The galaxy was adapting. But would understanding come fast enough? The timer for humanity's return continued its countdown, while unknown threats still lurked in the spaces between stars. 5 years after humanity's disappearance, Space Traffic Controller Krensa dozed at her station on Observatory Alpha. Most nights were quiet now. Fewer ships dared deep space travel without human navigation systems. Then her console exploded with alerts. "Impossible," she breathed, rubbing her eyes. The signal came from the galactic edge, space where no one had ever mapped. Her instruments detected something they weren't designed to find. She called her supervisor immediately. "Check this frequency. Tell me I'm not imagining it." Signal confirmed. Data signature matched human encryption protocols. Station Chief Carol Watson worked the night shift at Communication Hub Zeta. For 5 years, she had protected the equipment humans left behind. No one knew she held backup codes to activate human emergency beacons. The source point, she calculated quickly. Too far, beyond any known star charts. She ran the signal through every decoder she had. Finally, an authentication sequence appeared. ***, Human Fleet Command. Origin verification. Status. Safe location found ***. Carol's hands shook. This wasn't a distress call. News of the signal spread quickly. Within hours, diplomatic vessels prepared for immediate launch. But first, someone needed to make sense of what they'd received. The transmission uses quantum entanglement, reported Kelton scientist Krisha. Much more advanced than what humans had when they left. They've been busy. On planet Nexus 9, Captain Ray Foster owned a modified cargo hauler called New Dawn ***. He had served alongside human peacekeepers for years. When he heard the news, he didn't hesitate. Prepped for immediate departure, he ordered his multi-species crew. We're following that signal. His navigator, a young Cephalon named Thexun, worried about the distance. Sir, that's beyond anything on our charts. We don't have the range. We'll make multiple jumps, Ray replied, or build range. Humans would say where there's a will, there's a way. The Kelton Confederacy sent their newest destroyer, **Vengeance's Hope **, commanded by Captain Vex March. His ship had the longest range of any vessel in the fleet. We find humans. We find answers about the plague and the Voidborn, he told his crew. 4 days later, 5 different ships arrived at the coordinates. They found something that challenged everything they knew about physics. It's a dimensional boundary. Vexmar radioed to the other ships. Some kind of barrier between our space and something else. The signal grew stronger as they approached. New data packets arrived, containing stunning revelations. Message 1. Humanity had found a parallel dimension, a space between spaces. No plague could survive there. No Voidborn could enter. Message 2. They had built an entire civilization in 5 years. Cities, farms, universities. They had combined human ingenuity with technologies from beings in that realm. Message 3. They were ready to share, but only with species willing to change. Captain Carol emerged from hiding, using her human credentials to decode the invitation. Join us in building a new kind of galaxy. One where knowledge flows freely, where former enemies become partners, where old ways die so better ones can grow. But the message also carried a warning. The Voidborn were watching. They had noticed human technology in other dimensions. War was coming. Humans aren't hiding anymore, Carol explained to assembled captains. They're recruiting, building an alliance strong enough to fight the real threat. The signal continued broadcasting, but now it required a response. Each ship's captain faced a choice. Return home with this news and watch politics tear it apart, or accept the invitation and step into the unknown. Ray Foster made his decision first. He broadcast to all ships. The New Dawn enters the barrier. Who follows? Behind his ship formed a line of volunteers. Species that once competed now flew in formation, following humanity's new beacon home. The greatest reunion in galactic history was about to begin. But so was its greatest challenge. The dimensional barrier shimmered like northern lights as ships passed through. Inside, Captain Ray Foster gasped. Stars looked different here, bluer, brighter. Space itself felt cleaner. Welcome back, came a familiar voice on all frequencies. Commander Alex Rivera's face appeared on screens. Beside him stood beings no alien had ever seen, humans with silver eyes and creatures of pure energy. 5 years changed us, Alex explained. We met the Eternals in this dimension. They showed us how to defeat the plague, how to evolve beyond it. The returning ships found humanity transformed. Cities floated in space without gravity generators. Gardens grew without soil. Children played with energy constructs that responded to thought alone. We need your help. Alex told the assembled captains. The Voidborn have evolved too. They're building something massive at the edge of realities, a weapon that could destroy multiple dimensions. Admiral Rogers commanded the human defense fleet now. Her ships incorporated technologies that made old vessels look primitive, but she needed allies who understood their enemy. "You've been studying human methods," she observed. "Good. We'll need creative thinking, not just advanced weapons." The galaxy's greatest challenge began immediately. In workshops that blended human and alien designs, new defensive systems took shape. The Kelton's precision engineering combined with human adaptability. Trentani durability merged with human innovation. "We're not building an empire," explained President Sarah Collins, humanity's new elected leader. "We're building a federation. Every species equal, every voice heard." But equality meant responsibility. Species that once depended on humans now contributed as partners. Former enemies worked side by side. The Raki and Cephalon, longtime rivals, collaborated on shield technology. "This feels strange," admitted Raki General Corps. "Helping those I once fought." "That's the point," replied Captain Pete Johnson, returned from his exile. "The old ways created the problems we face. New alliances solved them." 3 months of preparation passed. Then sensors detected movement at reality's edge. The Voidborn approached with ships that seemed to digest space itself. "Battle stations," ordered Fleet Commander James Butler. The mixed fleet responded with precision no pure human or pure alien force could match. The first engagement proved the new alliance's worth. Human strategies guided alien execution. Kelton shields reinforced human hulls. Trentani weapons charged faster with human power systems. "They're retreating," reported Captain Vexmar from his upgraded destroyer. "First time anything has made them withdraw." Victory celebrations were brief. The Voidborn would return stronger. But now the galaxy had hope, unity, and humanity's greatest gift, the belief that impossible challenges could be overcome. In the months that followed, the new Federation expanded. More species joined willingly. Old conflicts dissolved in the face of shared purpose. Trade resumed, but now with fair agreements for all. Earth itself was reconsidered. No longer humanity's exclusive home, it became a symbol, a neutral meeting ground where species could learn from each other. Captain Jim Barnes piloted the ceremonial first ship through the dimensional gateway that connected both realms. He carried ambassadors from 20 species, including humans. The two galaxies, original and dimensional, would remain linked but separate. "We leave today stronger than when we departed," Jim announced. Behind him, the greatest fleet ever assembled waited to return home. Not as conquerors or refugees, but as partners in a larger story. The galaxy moved forward, forever changed. Where once stood division, now flourished cooperation. Where silence had ruled, communication thrived. Where fear had frozen progress, innovation blossomed. Humans had left. The galaxy had stumbled. And in that stumbling, it learned to walk taller. The age of isolation ended. The age of alliance began. Among the stars, old rivals shook hands. Former predators protected prey species. Beings who had never dreamed of space travel now helped build warp engines. The universe grew not just larger but deeper, as understanding replaced suspicion. And somewhere between dimensions, the Voidborn watched warily. Their prey had evolved. The hunt would no longer be easy. But that is a story for tomorrow's stars.